So you managed to get lucid, but then it looks a little bit like this. Before we get into the video, I have hundreds of lucid dreaming videos like this on my channel, and I'm posting more all the time, so do hit that subscribe button, do enable those notifications, that way you'll be up to date when my new content comes out. And if you want to actually get an in-depth guide to lucid dreaming, you can check out my book, The Lucid Dream Book, which there'll be a link for in the top right hand corner or down in the description below. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of the time that can happen. Whether you're a brand new lucid dreamer who doesn't have much experience, or even if you've been doing it for years, it is not that uncommon to have dreams that end really abruptly. And when that happens, it can be really frustrating because you've gone through all of this hard work to learn how to lucid dream, but then you're getting these lucid dreams that don't even last, so you can't do any of the fun things that you were excited to do. You just get in the dream and it ends a few minutes later. Well, I've made a few videos on dream stability before, but today I'm going to share another little tip that you can take into account that may just help save you from having those really abrupt lucid dreams. And this tip is all going to come down to a change of mindset. Now, I've talked about this before, but I believe that you should have a very particular mindset when you perform reality checks. If you're unfamiliar with reality checks for whatever reason, basically these are little tests that you do to see if you're dreaming. So, you might, for example, try to poke your finger through the palm of your hand, and obviously if it goes through, you know that you're dreaming. Now, generally what we do is we perform these tests throughout the day, regularly at certain intervals, to check if we are currently dreaming so that we can actually find out when we are and then get lucid. But an unfortunate mistake that a lot of people make is that they treat reality checks during the day like they're practice for doing them at night in their dreams. And there's sort of some level of truth to that. Essentially, by doing them regularly, you get into the routine of doing them regularly, so you're going to end up doing them in your dreams as well. That part of it is correct. But you're doing them regularly so that you can check if you're dreaming right now at any given point, because when you're actually dreaming, you're going to think that you're awake 99% of the time. So by doing those regular checks, eventually one of those checks is going to happen when you actually are dreaming and you just thought you were awake. So I always suggest that you should have this attitude that, hey, I could be dreaming right now. Because if you don't have that attitude, if you do just see these reality checks just as practice, then you're going to treat all of them just as practice, even the ones in your dreams. Because it's not like you already know that you're dreaming already, because if you did, then you wouldn't need the reality check in the first place. You're going to think that you're awake just the same as you do right now watching this video. And you're going to go about your reality check as if it's just practice. And if it's just practice, then, you're not really thinking about it. You're going like this, and you're not really even paying attention to whether your finger's going through your hand or not. And I've talked about this before on my channel, but I really want to reinforce this point, that you should always have that attitude that you could be dreaming right now, not just for the sake of making your reality checks more effective. In fact, I suggest that you should have this attitude even if you hate reality checks and never do them and only rely on other lucid dreaming techniques. And the reason for that is that I think it will lead to you having more longer lasting lucid dreams. So why? Well, good question. Why is it that believing at any point that you could be dreaming would lead to longer lucid dreams? Well, if you think about it, it's really quite simple. What is the problem that most of us have when we have short lucid dreams? Well, the problem is we get into those lucid dreams and we get so excited about the fact that, hey, I just realized I'm actually in a dream now and can do whatever I want. And that excitement jolts you awake, because after all, when you're in the REM stage of sleep, you're sleeping very light. You are very close to being awake and alert. And so it doesn't take much to actually wake you up. So if you're all excited about the fact that you're lucid dreaming, or you're surprised by that fact, then, guess what's going to happen? You're going to wake up. Not in every case, but most of the time, if you get too excited, that's going to be the thing that kills your lucid dream. So this attitude shift to always understanding that you could be in a dream at any moment and not knowing it is going to help cut down on the element of surprise. Because if you think about it, if you go all day just, being confident in your head, I am awake right now, I don't have to question it. I'll do a reality check anyway, but I don't have to question it. I know I'm awake. Then you're going to have that same attitude in your dreams. And when you do eventually do the reality check correctly, find out that you're dreaming, it's going to be a massive shock to your system, and that shock might just wake you up. Now, on the other hand, if you are consciously aware throughout the day of the fact that, hey, just because I feel awake doesn't mean that I necessarily am, and I need to perform these regular reality checks to check if I actually am. Well, if you have that attitude, then it's not going to surprise you quite as much when you actually do a reality check and, hey, lo and behold, you're dreaming. Because, you've been prepared for that. You've told yourself already, hey, I'm not going to know when I'm dreaming until I do the check, so I could be right now. And when you find out that you are, hey, it's not as big a surprise, and so you're less likely to actually be jolted awake from the shock. Now, if this is an attitude that's hard for you to adopt because you can't see yourself as, you know, being likely to be in a dream at any time, I want you to actually think back to some of the dreams that you've had. Think back to some of the times when you realised that you were dreaming, when, you know, you didn't know beforehand, and then you did a reality check and hey, you were dreaming. If you've had those experiences, if you've been lucid before, then you know that dreams can be very, very deceptive. Just because it feels very real and lifelike and like you're really awake doesn't always mean that you are. So having this attitude is just being logical, understanding that your brain can play tricks on you and that you're not the perfect judge of whether you're awake or not, and that's why we use these different tests. And if that still isn't easy enough for you to rationalise, then perhaps just use a bit of simple statistics. After all, we spend several hours each night actually in the dream state, so if you think about it, even if you only spent 1 hour a night in the dream state, that would be a 1 in 24 chance that you're in a dream right now. And that might not be a super high chance, but that's probably a lot higher than the value you're probably assigning in your mind to the probability of how likely it is that you're dreaming right now. So try and adopt this attitude change and see if it doesn't just lead to having longer lucid dreams. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Do be sure to subscribe and enable all notifications if you want to stay up to date with my videos. If you want to support the channel, you can check out the Patreon, where we now have a Patreon Discord. And if you want to keep watching, check out one of the videos on the screen. Go watch that, and I'll see you there soon. Take care.